and writing down dreams, I'm certain that you're missing the one thing that actually makes any of it matter.
Most people spend their entire lives chasing success without ever stopping to ask themselves the most important question.
What happens when your time runs out? Because here's the brutal truth. Nobody wants to hear it will. Your time will run out. Certain that when it does, all those goals you're putting off, all those dreams you've been saying you'll get to eventually, they don't get passed on. They don't get passed on. They don't get accomplished by someone else. They just disappear. Before you set one more goal, before you make one more plan, before you write down one more thing on your vision board, something that changed everything for me. This isn't about motivation. This isn't about working harder. It isn't about some quick fix or life hack that's going to make everything easier. This is about finally understanding what you're actually working for. Get it completely wrong until it's too late. And by too late, I mean they're lying in a hospital bed looking back with nothing but regret. Listen, this might sound strange. Trust me on this one. I know exactly what I'm talking about. I've been where you are and thought I had all the time in the world. I've made mistakes. I've wasted time. I've put things off. You don't have as much as you think you do. I'm certain, Ekalip, that passes is a day you'll never get back. Every single hour you waste is gone forever. Every single opportunity you let slip by might not come around again. That's not meant to scare you. It's meant to wake you up. Because most people walking through their lives and they don't realize it until it's too late to do anything about it. I'm asking you right now, before we go any further, are you really awake? Even though really conscious of what doing with your time? Or are you just going through the motions, hoping that somehow, someday, everything will just work out? Here's something we all need to face, regardless of our beliefs or background, are going to be here forever. That's just the truth. You won't be living 150 years from now. I can guarantee that. Medicine gets. I don't care what technology develops. You and I, we're not going to see the year 2175. The real question, and I want you to think about this seriously, how old are you right now? Really think about it. How long do you actually want to be on this earth? Have you ever even thought about that? Most people haven't. Just assume they'll live to be old. But they never actually think about what that means. This matters because once you truly understand that your time here is limited, you'll start treating it completely differently. You'll stop wasting days. You'll stop putting things off. I'll do it tomorrow, or I'll do it next year, or I'll do it when I have more time. When you're young, it's easy to feel like you'll stay young forever. I felt that way too. I remember being in my 20s, thinking I had all the time. Well, then I woke up one morning at 51 years old, thinking about my grandmother, who's now 91. I remember when she was in her 40s. I remember when she was vibrant and energetic and seemed like she'd never get old. It speeds up as you get older. Start flying by. One day you're 20. You blink again and you're 40. Before you know it, wondering where all the time went. Now, I'm not here to lecture you about avoiding drugs or making specific choices. You're free to make your own decisions. I'm not here to tell you how to live every detail of your life. But what I am here to tell you is this. You're not going to live forever. So you need to decide right now what your 20s will look like. Not tomorrow, not next week. What is your 40s? What kind of person do you want to be at 50? At 60, I'm certain that you want to have accomplished. What do you want to be able to look back on and feel proud of? You've got a phenomenal start right now. The good news is you're here, you're listening, you have time to make the right decisions. You're not 70 years old looking back with regret. I'm certain at the beginning or middle of your journey, and you can still chart the course. But that window doesn't stay open forever. Day you delay is a day lost. Every week you waste is a week you'll never get back. Every month you spend not pursuing your purpose is a month that disappears into the past. You can about time is. You can't buy it back. You can make more money. You can find new relationships into a new city, but you can never, ever get back the time you've lost. So I'm asking you again, I'm certain, Lou, with the time you have left, because whether you're 20 or 30 or 40, you have less time than you think. And the question isn't whether. You'll run out of time. The question is what you'll have done with it when you do. I grew up in Chicago and Detroit. Most of my childhood friends aren't living the way I'm living now. I'm certain that they're no different from me in terms of potential. They had the same capabilities, the same intelligence, the same opportunities for the most part. But we ended up in completely different places. Actually, friend Bob should be the one speaking to you right now. Not me. One who pulled me off the streets of Detroit when I was homeless. And when I say homeless, I was couch surfing or staying with friends. I mean truly homeless, living in abandoned buildings, from trash cans, sleeping wherever I could find shelter. That was my reality. I was on the streets. I was hopeless. And I didn't think there was any way out for me. I thought I'd either end up dead or in prison. And honestly, didn't care which one came first. But Bob saw something in me that I didn't see in myself. Bob brought me to church. That pastor helped me get my GED.
that pastor in that church community give me spiritual guidance. They gave me practical help. They sent me to college. They believed in me when I didn't believe in myself. It took me 20 years to finish a 4-year degree because I wasn't serious at first. Still carrying all that street mentality with me. I was still thinking like a person who didn't deserve success. Right when I started college. Can you imagine that? Starting college, barely able to read or write. And the professor would assign reading, and I'd panic because I knew I couldn't do it at the level everyone else could. I'd take tests and struggle through them, sitting 3 times as long as everyone else just to get through the questions. It was humiliating. It was hard. And were so many times I wanted to quit. But Bob kept encouraging me. Bob kept believing in me. Bob kept showing up for me. And here's the thing. Bob should be here today. Bob should be the one on this stage, telling you his story, inspiring you to be better. Because at 20 years old, Bob and I started making different decisions. Bob had everything going for him. He was smarter than me. He was more talented than me. He had more natural ability than I did. Somewhere along the way, Bob made choices that took him down a different path. And now he's not here to tell his story. I think about Bob every single day. I think about what he could have been. I think about the impact he could have had. It breaks my heart because the only difference between Bob and me wasn't talent or ability or even opportunity. It was the decisions we made. I don't care what you say you want to be or what you want to do. Here's something crazy about your age. Because you got to where you are now doesn't mean your 30s, 40s, 50s automatically going to look the same way. Success today doesn't guarantee success tomorrow. Achievement at 25 doesn't mean you'll still be achieving at 45. Professional athletes. If you played in the NFL, if your best year could just repeat itself for the rest of your life, you could just stay at your peak forever. Unfortunately, that's not how it works. That's not how life works. Who made millions end up broke. Many people who were successful in their 20s are struggling in their 40s. I'm certain your mom got pregnant with me at 17 years old. She was just a kid herself when she had me. She had to work at Ford for 30 years, be in her bag, doing hard labor, just to provide for our family. And they should make what? So we'll make in 2 or 3 years. She worked for 3 decades to earn what you might earn in 24 or 36 months. So I'm proud of you. I really am. Whatever you had to do in high school, whatever you had to do in college, whatever obstacles you had to overcome, whatever sacrifices you had to make, you did what was necessary to get to this level. You're here. You made it. But all I'm asking is that you set a standard for yourself moving forward. How I'm asking is that you don't waste what you've built.
You honor the sacrifice it took to get here by making the most of where you are. Because Bob didn't.
And now Bob's not here. And I don't want that to be your story. Take MC Hammer, for example. He's my friend, so I can say this. $50 million in 1 year. $30 million. Gone in 12 months. How do you lose 30 million in a year? It's actually easy. It's easier than you think. You maintain the same mentality you had before you got the money. You can keep the same friends who don't understand money. You try to take care of everyone around you. Those people don't have the same financial discipline you need. Your friends are spending recklessly, doing foolish things they can't afford, and because you love them and want to help them, suddenly you're broke too. Ends the harsh reality. Most people who lose 30 million in 1 year never get another shot at making another 30 million. I'm sure opportunity doesn't come around twice for most people. Wouldn't it be amazing if you wasted 30 million and then got a second chance to make it all back? Gave you a do-over? But for most people, that second chance never comes. You get one shot. You get one opportunity to build real wealth. And if you blow it, that's it. You don't get to rewind and start over. What I ask you this, do you want your life to look like? And I mean really look like. Not what it looks like on Instagram. Not what it looks like to other people. But what do you want your actual life, your real today existence, to look like in 10 years? In 20 years, many of you have probably never even seriously thought about it, even though you've thought about what car you want to drive or what house you want to live in. I'm certain thought of who you want to be. You haven't thought about what kind of character you want to have. You haven't thought about what kind of legacy you want to leave. The decisions you make today with your money, with your time, I'm certain with your relationships, with your health, these decisions compound. They add up. They create the life you're going to live at 30, 40, at 50. You can't live like you're broke when you're making good money and expect to have wealth later. Can treat your body like garbage in your 20s and expect to be healthy in your 50s. Everything you do right now is building the foundation for your future. And if that foundation is weak, if it's built on sand, I'm built on bad habits and poor decisions, it will collapse. It doesn't matter how much money you make. Successful you appear to be, if the foundation isn't solid, the whole thing comes down eventually. Hammer had to learn it the hard way. Don't let that be your story. Write this down right now. What do I want to be doing in my 30s? My 40s? My 40s? My 50s? My 60s? Every single day will determine how you live at 30, at 40, at 50, at 60. This isn't theory. This isn't motivational fluff.
This is reality. The way you live today creates your tomorrow, creates next year. The way you live in your 20s creates your 30s. I'm a geek. Why do I say that? Because I speak for a living. I read for a living. I study for a living. I get paid to think and communicate. And here's why that matters. This career doesn't have an expiration date. If I live to 70, I can still do this. At 80, I can still do this. As long as my mind is sharp and I can communicate, I can continue this work. The problem with football or other physical careers is that you can't do them at 50. I don't care how talented you are, how much you love the game, your body breaks down. Your knees go, your back goes. Your speed decreases. Strength diminishes. Suddenly, the thing you've built your entire identity around, dedicated your whole life to, you can't do it anymore. Even the greatest of the greats had to retire. Was the best in my opinion. And even he had to stop when he played for the Wizards. He wasn't the same player. He was with the Bulls. He was still talented. He was still better than most players in the league. It wasn't Michael Jordan from the Bulls days. Age catches up with everyone. Nobody stays at their peak forever. Their physical prime indefinitely. And if your entire career, your entire income, entire identity is built on your physical ability, what happens when that's gone? Your current career might not last 20 years. It might not even last 10 years for some of you. An injury could end it tomorrow. A change in the market could make your position obsolete. Technology could replace what you do. The industry could shift. Hence why you need to take full advantage of every single opportunity while you have it. That's why you can't waste time. That's why you can't coast. That's why you have to maximize every moment, every day, every season while you're at your peak. But you also need to think long term. You need to plan for the decades ahead. You need to ask yourself, what am I creating that will sustain me not just now, but in 20 years, in 30 years? Mine. What skills am I developing that can't be taken away? What relationships am I building that will endure? And gaining that will appreciate over time. Because if all you're doing is living for today, the thing is right now, you're going to wake up at 40 or 50 with nothing. And even though he ain't sure, rest people who had a great run in their 20s and then spent the rest of their life trying to recapture that glory. Plan your decades. Build for the long term. Create a life that gets better with age, not worse. Fine. Listen carefully. I'm not telling you what standard to set. You're a grown person. I would never dictate your standards. Exactly how to your life. But you need to set one. You absolutely must have a standard. I just came back from Dubai. And let me tell you, they set the standard there. If you haven't been, you should go. And even though it'll change your perspective on what's possible, everything they do is at the highest level. The taxes are BMW 7 Series, not economy cars. BMW 7 Series. That's the standard for a tax. 6, not 1, not 2, 6. And they're not done building. Pushing higher, going further, doing more. Everything is done with excellence. Everything is done at the highest possible level. One person built the tallest building, and that became the new standard, is trying to match or exceed it. That's what happens when someone sets a standard. It changes the entire game, raises the bar for everyone else. It creates a new level of expectation. What's your standard? I don't care what it is specifically, but what is it? Do you even have one? Or are you just floating through life, certain that reacting to whatever comes your way, doing whatever feels good in the moment? Let me share mine. This is going to be very personal. I've been waking up at 300s in the morning to pray since I was 19 years old. That's not negotiable. Every morning at 300, I'm up. I don't care how tired I am. I don't care what time I went to bed. I'm traveling, or if I'm at home, 300 a.m. I'm up and I'm praying. I aim to be the best speaker in the world. Naturally the best, but because I put God first every single day. That's my standard. I'm not trying to be in the top 10. I'm trying to be the absolute best. I work toward that every single day. I've been married 31 years. 31 years to the same woman. Intimate with one woman my entire life. That's my standard. Now, I'm not telling anyone else to do that. Judging anyone who's made different choices. But this is my standard. You want to know why? Because he was unfaithful to everyone. He had children all over the place. I have siblings I don't even know. I just met my niece for the first time, and she's 24 years old. 24 years old. I'm just meeting her because my father couldn't keep his commitments. So I decided I'm not doing what my dad did. My kids would grow up with their father in the home. I decided my wife wouldn't have to wonder where I was or who I was with. That's my standard. My dad was a high school dropout. He struggled his entire life because he didn't have an education. So I got my GD. Then I got my 4-year degree. Then I got my PhD. I'm not necessarily smarter than anyone else. But I set a standard. When my kids came into this world, their mother had a master's degree and their father had a PhD. I'm certain that their parents value education. They knew they had to at least finish high school. Actually, and he knew they had to finish college. I set that standard. I showed them what was possible. What education could do for a family. I became a multimillionaire as a speaker, building from the ground up. And even anything, nobody gave me a trust fund. And Nobody opened doors for me. Because of who my family was, I built this from nothing. I set a standard. You can't be a champion without a standard. The people who set standards are the ones who become champions. I've never smoked a day in my life. All my friends smoke. I'm not judging them. I hang out with them. I don't look down. I just set a personal standard. Ein father struggled with crack addiction for 14 years. 14 years of his life lost to addiction of the liver. They drank themselves to death. I decided I'm good on alcohol and drugs. Why? As it doesn't look like my family know how to handle those things. It looks like substances destroy my family. I shouldn't be different. I decided to break that cycle. Someone asked me recently what I think about certain substances. Things that are legal now in some places. Things that people say are harmless. I told them I have a standard. They kept asking what's wrong with this or that. They kept trying to convince me it's no big deal. I said, listen, I'm trying to be the next Martin Luther King. I'm trying to change the world. I'm trying to impact millions of people. You get to a certain level, you don't ask what's wrong with something. You ask what's right with it. You ask, does this help me achieve my purpose? Does this move me closer to my goals? Does this make me better? I'm a champion. Chain champions don't cut corners. We don't try to see how much we can get away with and still be successful. We don't look for loopholes. We don't try to find the easy way. I have a standard. I want to be the best. And being the best requires sacrifice. It requires discipline. It requires no to things that most people say yes to. Curry said something powerful that changed my perspective. And sir, taking shots in workouts is no longer good enough. Think about that for a second. The greatest shooters in NBA history is saying that practice isn't enough. Being good in practice isn't enough. Write this down. Finish. Execute. Let me tell you something that most people don't understand. People treat, though execute, differently. There's a different level of respect, a different level of opportunity, a different level of compensation for people who execute. Nobody cares what you're doing in practice. That doesn't count. Preparation. Practice is just rehearsal. What you do in the first, second, and third quarters doesn't matter as much as what you do in the fourth quarter when it counts. The most important quarter is the one where you win. You can dominate for 3 quarters and lose in the fourth. No, nobody remembers how good you were in quarters. 1 through 3. They only remember that you lost. Effort is not good enough. Is not good enough. Nobody pays you for effort. You don't get paid for trying. You don't get rewarded for almost succeeding. You get paid for results. You get paid for execution. You get paid for finishing. I could work 16 hours a day, but if I don't produce results, nobody cares.
I could stay up all night preparing. If I don't deliver when it's time to deliver, all that preparation is worthless. The world rewards execution, not intention. My wife and I went to Dubai because I execute for free. Let me explain what I mean by that. I put up videos every single day. Nobody's been paying me for the content I've put out since 2006. Almost 20 years of daily content. So when you wake up, you have something to watch. In the afternoon, I give you something. I give you something because you need to be pumped up when you get back to your family. I'm not charging you for those videos. I'm not putting them behind a paywall. I'm not asking for subscriptions. I just execute. Whether I feel like it or not, whether I'm inspired or not, whether I'm tired or not, I execute. You reap what you sow. That's a principle that never fails. On our way to Dubai, Zellers and Yelgens for our airplane seats, $30,000 for seats on a plane, because I thought maybe he expected something huge in return. I'm thinking, this man just spent 30,000 to fly us out here. What does he expect from me? The pressure was real. Hotel. And let me tell you, it wasn't just any hotel. One of the most luxurious hotels I've ever seen in my life. My wife pulled me aside. She looked me in the eyes and said, this man has spent almost $150,000 to bring you here. Between the flights, the hotel, the arrangements, almost $150,000. I want to come back. When you get up there and speak, it better be the best speech you've ever given in your life. Execute. My wife doesn't play games. She knows what's at stake. She knows that execution is everything. She knows that this opportunity came because of all those free videos. I'm certain you consistent execution over the years. And she knows that to get more opportunities like this when it counts. My wife wanted to come back to Dubai, but next time with our kids. She wants them to see Dubai. She wants them to experience that level of excellence. I asked her, so you want to put them in first class too? She said, no, they can see us through the curtain. I calculated that would be 60,000 in total, just for the flights. Not the hotel, not the food, not the activities. Just the flights. She said, and go speak like it's worth that much. That's the standard. That's the expectation. Justifies the investment. Execute at a level that creates more opportunities. Execute at a level that makes people want to bring you back. Set the standard. Then raise the standard. The standard every single day. Not just on game day. Not just when people are watching. Every single day. In practice. In the moments nobody sees. Some of you are thinking that sounds like too much. You're thinking, I can't maintain that level of excellence all the time. Well, then you're not going to be a champion. It's that simple.
You're going up against other champions. You're competing against people who are giving 100% every single day.
Do you think given 50% is enough? What about 70% or 80%? Let me tell you something. Someone else is 100%, and they're going to beat you.
The opportunity you wanted. They're going to get the contract you were hoping for. I will achieve the success you dreamed about. I watch people all the time. Many are good, but you need to be great. A difference between good and great. Good is common. Great is rare. You might be really good at what you do. Sonny, you don't finish strong. You look good in the first quarter, starting strong, full of energy, full of enthusiasm. In the second quarter, maintaining your momentum, still executing at a high level. In the third quarter, maybe getting a little tired, but still performing well. But in that fourth quarter, 3 minutes when the game is on the line, when everything you've worked for comes down to this moment, I can tell who the real performers are. I can tell who the champions are. The real champions show up in the last 4 minutes. Circa 9, everyone else is looking for a way out. Champions are looking for a way to win. And real champions emerge when everyone's legs give out. When everyone else is cramping up. When everyone else is exhausted. Champions find at another gear. The real champions perform when everyone's tired. They don't make excuses. They don't say, gave it everything I had in the first 3 quarters. They find a way to execute when it matters most. The real champions find a way to pull something out when nobody else has anything left. They reach down deep. They tap into reserves they didn't even know they had. They execute under pressure. They finish strong. That's what separates the good from the great. That's what separates the champions from everyone else. How you start. How you start. It's about how you finish. It's not about how you perform when everything's going well. How you perform when everything's on the line. Let me be clear about something that's not a principle, just reality. I wish I could tell you on the road to success, everything will work out perfectly. I could tell you that if you just set your standard and execute every day, nothing bad will happen on out. It won't. It won't be smooth. It won't be easy. Certain that you're 9, I wish I could tell you that just work hard enough. If you just stay disciplined enough, if you just remain focused enough, you'd be protected from tragedy and pain and loss. But that's not true. Success doesn't shield you from suffering. Achievement doesn't protect you from adversity. On my journey, while you were watching my videos on YouTube, while you were seeing me on stage, while you were seeing the highlight reel of my life, to cancer, 5 in a relatively short period of time. 5 women in my family gone.
You didn't see me going to funerals, getting on planes at all hours, driving long distances to be with family.
And you didn't see me grieving. You didn't see me dealing with aunts close to my age who died without insurance, forcing to raise money for their funerals. You didn't see the financial burden, the emotional toll,
The exhaustion of lost or loss after loss. I had cousins shot execution style in stores, shot twice in the back of the head.
gone.
Just like that. You don't see that on social media. You see me speaking to thousands of people. You see me traveling to Dubai. You see me living what looks like a dream life. But you don't see the nightmares. You don't see the pain behind the scenes. You don't see me getting a phone call that another family member is gone.
You don't see me trying to hold depth for everyone else while I'm falling apart inside. 3 years ago, I found 7 lesions on my wife's brain. 7. Let me tell you what that's like. I'm certain tell you what it's like to hear those words from a doctor. Let me tell you what it's like to look at your wife, you and I, with woman you've built your life with, the woman you've been with for over 30 years, and wonder if she's going to be okay.
Where it's been a dogfight. My wife is still fighting. We're still believing. We're still trusting God. We're still going to doctors, dealing with uncertainty. We're still waking up every day not knowing what the future holds. But it hasn't been easy. It's been the hardest thing I've ever gone through. The road to success hasn't been a smooth, paved path. It's been rough, crooked. There have been potholes. There have been detours. There have been times when I didn't think the road was even going anywhere. There have been times I wanted to quit. I'm certain that didn't nine. I didn't know how to keep going. There were mornings I didn't want to get out of bed. I didn't want to speak. There were moments I questioned everything. My purpose, my calling, my ability to keep pushing forward. But I made up my mind that I will get a reward for the pain I go through. I will not stop in the middle of the process. I will not quit halfway through. I will not be defeated. I will not be destroyed. Take everything that happens in my life, every tragedy, every setback, every loss, and allow the pain to push me to greatness. Every setback, every tragedy, I'm using it fuel. I'm using it to make me stronger. I'm using it to push me forward, to shape me, to mold me into the person I need to be to accomplish what I'm called to do. It propels me. The tragedy doesn't break me. It builds me. The loss doesn't defeat me. It defines me. I've decided that everything I go through will serve a purpose. Everything I endure will mean something, will be part of my testimony. You will not break me. You will not stop me. You will not defeat me. And the only way I lose is if I quit. And I'm not quitting. I don't care what comes my way. I don't care how hard it gets. how many times I get knocked down.
I'm getting back up. Every single time. Let me be very clear about something.
More times than I can count. I've been counted out. I've been counted out. I've been written off.
I've been told I wasn't smart enough, talented enough, educated enough, connected enough. Who have doubted me my entire life. And you know what? Sometimes I doubted myself. Sometimes I wondered if they were right.
Where came from and thought, maybe I'm not supposed to be here.
Chivalrous success isn't for people like me. But I kept getting back up. I kept pushing forward.
I kept executing even when I didn't feel like it. Even when it would have been easier to let it slip. And eventually, the doubters became believers. People who said became people who celebrated that I did. If you're ready to quit, then don't get started. If you're looking at this journey and thinking, this sounds too hard, then don't begin. Certain that you're mine. If you're looking for an easy path, don't get started. If you think success is just going to fall into your lap,